Facebook audiences are really the most profitable type of ads on Facebook that you can run. And there's really two types of audiences that you can create: custom audiences and lookalike audiences. Now, custom audiences are groups of people who visit your store and take certain actions. Lookalike audiences are groups of people similar to people who visited your store and did certain actions. And this is really like having your own traffic source that only you can run ads to. So it's incredibly, incredibly powerful. You will see a very high ROI, or return on investment, using Facebook audiences. So you definitely want to use them with every product campaign that you're scaling. Now, the first type of custom audiences is really an audience of people who visit your product page. Maybe they add an item to cart, maybe they even go to the cart page or even visit the checkout page, and maybe even they complete the purchase. Essentially, what you can do here is retarget people at each step of the funnel, all the way from click to sale. So what you want to be doing here is, while you're scaling a winning product campaign, you can go and set up audiences for these each individual steps to move people through the funnel. For example, if someone visits your product page and they add the item to cart, but they don't check out and purchase, you can actually retarget that group of people to come back to the store and buy. And the best way to do that is by offering them special discounts like 10% off, 20% off, or free shipping. So that's a quick example there of how to use custom audiences very effectively. Now, and the second type of audiences are called lookalike audiences. This is an audience of people that Facebook creates for you who are similar to your custom audiences. And you can create as many types of lookalike audiences as you want, and to use them with great effect. So essentially what happens here is you give Facebook a data source. Let's say you give to Facebook, in the last 30 days, all the people who visited your product page, and you say, hey, Facebook, go make me a lookalike audience based on this group of people. And that's exactly what Facebook will do. They will build audiences just for you, between 2 million to 10 million people, sometimes even higher. So it's a whole audience, a very large audience of new people that you can run your product ads to. It's highly effective. Now, let's jump into custom audiences a bit deeper. So essentially, when you find a winning product, like I mentioned, you want to create the page view custom audience, the view content custom audience, the add to cart custom audience, the initiate checkout custom audience, and the purchase audience as well. Then what you want to do is create viewed video audiences, create time spent on site audiences, create engagement audiences, and start retargeting all of them once you begin scaling that winning product. And we're going to go through each and every one of these different audiences to explain how it all works. So when you go to create audiences within your Facebook Ads Manager, you have three options. You can create custom audiences, lookalike audiences, or saved audiences. We're not going to talk about saved audiences in this video. That's essentially targeting the usual demographics, interests, and behaviors. We'll talk about that separately. Today, we're going to focus on creating custom audiences and lookalike audiences. Okay, so what you do when you create a custom audience and click that top button, you're going to be presented with a screen just like this. You have a few different options here. You can actually upload a customer file, so a CSV file of your customer data, their names, emails, phone numbers, etc. And you can actually run ads to your customer list. So if you have an old store, or if you had leads from another source, you can upload that to Facebook and run ads to them. Second is website traffic. That's what we're going to be covering in just a sec. And then you have app activity, which really doesn't apply because we're not running any apps. Offline activity, that doesn't apply to us either because we're not brick and mortar, nor would ever want to be. And finally, engagement, which is very powerful. We're going to dive into engagement as well. So let's talk about website traffic custom audiences first. The first one is page view. So this is very interesting. So what we can actually do here is just take the last part of your product page URL. So in this example, it's pet-water-bottle. And this is going to capture all the traffic, all the people who visit that particular product page in the past 180 days. That's the maximum that we can capture in custom audiences for website traffic. And then you would simply name it the product name. So in this example, pet water bottle, page view 180. So again, all the people who visited this product page in the last 180 days, that would be one custom audience you could use to retarget or create lookalike audiences from, okay? Now, The next one here, we're going to be using something called Content ID. As you can see in the URL at the top of the screenshot there, it says ID equals 337. That is essentially what Facebook calls your content ID. It is a parameter for your product. So this is how we set up the next custom audiences using content IDs. So in this example, we have the pet water bottle again, but now we're targeting people who viewed content. So instead of just visiting any product page on your store, they have to specifically visit a product page in the past 180 days. And we use the content ID so that it's only capturing data for that particular product. So in this example, the content ID was 242. And as you can see at the bottom, we named it Pet Water Bottle View Content 180. So again, another great audience to retarget to bring people back to buy if they don't purchase the first time around, or to create lookalike audiences with. Next is initiate checkout. So again, same thing, we're using content ID here, the number 242, whatever the content ID is for your product, and you would capture people who went to go start filling out that checkout form in the past 180 days, but maybe they didn't actually purchase. You can actually exclude purchasers as well when doing this, or you can do it in other audiences, which I'll show you in a sec. But essentially, we're creating audiences and groups of people for each stage in the funnel. Next is add to cart. So this is going to capture people who added to cart on a particular product page. Again, this example is the pet water bottle. So everybody who added to cart in the past 180 days. And then again, you can exclude purchasers, or you can just do it manually with a purchase audience after. Next, we actually have the purchase audience. So you would use this audience to exclude from people on the other audiences. That way, we're always targeting the right people who didn't buy yet, but we move them slowly down the funnel, showing them more and more ads with deeper and deeper discounts to entice them to check out and finally make the purchase. Next, we have engagement custom audiences, and the main one here is viewed video audiences. So what you do is you click on the Create Custom Audience button. Then again, you come to this page, and at the very bottom, you're going to click on Engagement. And then you're going to click on Video. And right here is where you're going to select the video viewed audience 95%. So this is essentially capturing people who watched 95% of your video ad. Okay, and you can actually make this one 365 days to capture all that data. They give you a double the amount of the other custom audiences. Very, very powerful. You definitely want to set this up. And you can actually set up 25% watch the video, 50% watch the video, 75%, and of course the 95%. So I want you to set up all 4 of those video viewed custom audiences. And of course, those are going to get bigger and bigger as you grow and scale this product campaign. Next, we're going to talk about time spent. So this one's very interesting. This is back in the website traffic section when you're setting up your custom audience. And you can actually target people who spent the most time on your product page. So very effective. So typically you would set up the top 25% in the past 180 days. And those people are very interested in the product, but maybe they haven't added to cart yet or finished the purchase. So you could retarget to them, or of course you could create lookalike audiences, which we'll get into in just a sec. Let's talk about engagement. So if we go back now, you can see again, you click on engagement on the bottom after you click create custom audience. And then what you want to do is click on Facebook page right in the middle of the screen there. It's going to take you to a page that looks just like this. And what we can do is actually create all of these different audiences. So the first one here, it says everyone who engaged with your page. That's one type of audience, of a group of people that you can target or create lookalikes from. The next one is really anyone who visited your page. Then the one below that, people who engaged with any post or ad, and then people who clicked any call to action, then people who sent a message to your page, and finally people who saved your page or any post. So I want you to create audiences for all of those, and then again retarget them to come back and buy, or create lookalikes with them. Now, this is the most exciting part about Facebook audiences, and that is lookalike audiences. They are by far the most profitable type of ad and ad set or audience on Facebook. You're going to get amazing results using lookalike audiences. Now, caveat to this is you never want to run LLAs or lookalike audiences alone. You always want to have interest-based ad sets feeding them to give that free data and update the data inside the lookalikes. Okay, so typically what we like to do is have 50% of our ad sets are lookalikes and 50% are interest-based ad sets, just using basic keywords. Now, what I want you to do is test every type of lookalike. You can create 1%, 2%, 3%, all the way up to 10%, but you can also do percentage ranges. So 1 to 3%, 1 to 2%, 3 to 5, just like that. And I want you to set up all those different types of percentages and ranges and test them all. You never know what's going to work with lookalike audiences, and they're so powerful. Then what you can also do, if the lookalike doesn't work by itself wide open, you can actually intersect with your best broad interests. So for example, if you were selling a fishing product, you could have a 1% lookalike, people who visited the product page, and intersect that with people who like fishing. Now your audience is going to be a lot smaller, but a lot more targeted, and that should work incredibly well. And lastly, you can even stack different types of lookalikes in the same audience. So for example, you could have a 1% of people who added to cart and a 2% of people who initiated checkout, and stack those two audiences into one, and you'll have a much bigger audience, and you can actually spend a lot more on that ad set. Now, how do we actually set up the lookalike? Just like this. So instead of creating a custom audience, you create a lookalike audience. You select the source, which could be from any of your custom audiences or your fan page, or really video viewed, anything you want. So all those different data sources we talked about in custom audiences. Then you select your location. Now this is neat. You can actually do multiple countries, single countries, and even regions. But we typically start with the United States. Then you can do a basic version of the lookalike, which is 1%, 2%, 3%, all the way up to 10%, so single percentage audiences. Or you can do advanced options here and create a number of audiences all in one shot. So this is where you would do the percentage ranges. So you could do 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, or even 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 10, etc. So the key here is to really mix and match to see what's going to work best by testing them all. Facebook ads is all about being a mad scientist and testing like crazy to find out what works best in your business with your winning products. And Facebook audiences, I can promise you, yields massive results. You can get ROAS, or return on ad spend, of 3 times to 10 times. Imagine being able to triple your investment or triple your ad spend. It's incredibly powerful. In this screenshot here example, we spent almost $71,000 and we returned over $471,000. That's a 6.65 times ROAS. So absolutely incredible. And you can see here, we've got some much higher ROASs on some of these ad sets as well. For example, one at the top here spent $1,178. We returned over $10,000 for an 8 times ROAS. So lookalike audiences and custom audiences are incredibly powerful. Another example here, we spent $152. We returned over $910,000, almost a 6 times ROAS. And again, at the top here, we spent $456 on one ad set, returned over $12,000. Now, these results are not typical. They are very fine-tuned and honed custom audiences and lookalike audiences with a very big winning product. But this is the power of Facebook audiences. You can get massive results. Look at this one here. We spent over $84,000. We returned $462,000 for a 5.48 times ROAS. And then this one here, we spent $43,000. We returned over $391,000 for a 9 times ROAS. So this was absolutely incredible. A very big retargeting campaign, hitting all those custom audiences again, moving people down the funnel to go and purchase. So we're moving them from just clicking to view the product page to adding to cart to initiate checkout, and then finally to purchase. And you can get huge results just like this if you use the audiences that I showed in this video.